Hello and welcome everyone. Today I want to talk with you about Diablo Season 4 and did it revitalize the game? Was it good? And can the game really improve to the standards of ARPGs that we currently have on the market? Basically, let's talk about Diablo 4. So Diablo 4 Season 4, whenever they've remade all the itemization in the game, they did some changes to Hell Tides, is an okay season for Diablo 4 as it is, but Diablo 4 as the game has a lot of core pillar issues that are absent or are made in with some other idea in mind rather than being fun, which means that season 4 does not repair Diablo 4 to the state where the game is good. That's why most of the people will probably say to you after playing Season 4 that Diablo 4 is mid. You can play it, you can have fun in it for some hours, but after that, if you've played a lot of Hell Tides already, if you've played 10 hours of Nightmare Dungeons, you most likely don't really have anything to do in the game, and the gameplay experience in general is a very on-rail experience. You are always know what you're getting. You know that developers created this gameplay loop that you will play through. You know you feel all the time points, timestamps where you will get this part of upgrade for your character. Then you will have like all the legendaries here, then you will upgrade them to this level, then you will be able to go to Nightmare Dungeons of this difficulty, you will upgrade your glyphs here, then you will do this, and it is a very, very on-rail experience where you're basically on a roller coaster that is very flatlined, and you just know all the future stations that you will go through. And this is the biggest problem with the game. For sure, itemization was the problem, and it kind of still is. The items are now at least blandly okay. They are not bad as they were before. So you are gathering some items. You do have interesting modifiers on your legendary items. You do have some interesting modifiers on unique items. Regular modifiers on your items now are simpler. They are quite understandable, and they are very blandly uninteresting. You know what you want to have on your character. Your stats that you want to have are obvious, painfully obvious for each single build. It's not like you need to think about what you want on your character, and then you are just you're just fishing for them with quite an ease. You are getting all the items, you're getting all the modifiers that you need quite easily through the game, and then you're just ramping up the numbers. So basically, just in general, Season 4 is for sure way better than previous seasons. Itemization is in a better spot, but it is still in a bad spot. And it is in a mediocre, uninteresting spot. Okay, let's say it like that. The bigger problem with the game is that in my opinion, if you've played through one, maybe two characters through this Helltide leveling, very fast leveling loop of Helltides going through one to like somewhat level 70, that's, you probably would not really want to play through that again, even on the next season, because Helltides are okay, but there is not much to them. You do have some types of events that are going on in Helltides, like maybe 5 or 6 of them, different types of events. And then you have this boss spawning main event of Helltide, where you will get all the hearts that you need to donate to these 3 things. Boss event will spawn, people will gather, you will clear that boss event, and then you repeat that. And whenever you repeat that for one character for maybe like 15 to 20 hours, it's okay. You can feel you still can be interested through the upgrading your character through other means rather than your enemies. But on second, third character, and after that, I don't see any adequate people who play other games and know what to compare this experience to. Not even in ARPG, not even in ARPG genre, but just in general. If you've played any other RPG, you probably would not really want to do your second character playing through Hell Tides for 10 or 15 hours yet again, doing the same bosses, the same enemies, in the same visual styled zones that are all these red, demonic, very bland zones. You probably would not really do that. You would not be interested in doing that. There is no interesting replayability to that point of the game. If they will add more different types of content like Hell Tides, or they will do alternative types of content that will progress you through all those levels with the same pace, and that you can interact with them otherwise in later patches, that will increase the probability of people playing through that content and going on other classes, playing through the game again. But they didn't do it, and I hope that they will. But it's not one part of the game. Basically, this is one of the symbols of how the game operates. You do have bare bones okay mechanics, bare bones okay content, and bare bones okay progression that is pretty fine and somewhat fun whenever you're doing it first time, second time, and then you don't really want to repeat it because it is a repeat. It's not really another take on that content. And what I think that is very important here is that they got rid of their they basically do have a campaign skip. The campaign of the game is pretty okay. It is interesting at some points. It is badly made at the other points whenever you're just interacting with those copies of Lilith. And in my opinion, what they need to have is they need to have good, repeatable story content, story campaign that you cannot really skip and that you need to play through every single time. Or maybe some additional maybe you can, because I understand all the statements against campaigns. I played Path of Exile for the longest time, and I do hate kinda campaign after 7-8 years of playing through it every single 3 months, multiple times sometimes of and I do understand that the campaign can be the most non-repeatable content in the game, but whenever but still the campaign takes you through maybe 80 to 90 different zones with different enemies and different bosses every single time that you play through your character. Basically, campaign does not give you an option to repeat, to place yourself in one single situation with one type of enemy and one type of bosses and repeat it for 20, 30, 40, 50 hours. For people who play ARPGs religiously, that may be okay, and they may prefer that to the experience where you're playing through many different zones and many different enemies. But what I do think is that, you basically need some campaign or substitute to a campaign that will drag you through tens of territories, different enemies, different bosses, with the same pace that your most effective leveling tactic available is present in the game. And then people will have this at least somewhat of a repeatable, replayable experience that will not be as plain as just going through one simple mechanic over and over again, just in order to be as fast as possible. And basically, if you need someone to go through multiple different zones and do all the different tasks, what happens most likely is that you need to ban those people from doing one single activity, because people will optimize the fun out of the game and they will prefer to do one repeatable thing, even if they will quit the game after 10 hours of doing that, rather than going through multiple different locations, playing through that maybe 5 or 10 times, not growing bored of it. But yeah, what I want to say is that Diablo 4 for sure lacks a lot of different parts, and it's not a complete game. It's a complete game, but it is a very bland complete game. And if they want to attract more people that are normies, for example, that are playing maybe Skyrim, that love maybe playing Dark Souls, any other types of normie game that you can imagine, then you need to have a lot of content that will not be repeatable, that will not be a repetition of the same content, what I mean. And you need to have at least some interesting story content, some fresh bits to it. You need to have way more diverse gameplay choices in the game. You need to have your experience not be as on rails experience, because now Diablo 4 to me reminds most of very polished mobile game ported to PC. If Diablo 4 was a mobile game, I would say that it would just thrash all the competition. It will be in genre. It will be just like they are structured most of the time. But for in PC or just in general, not in mobile environment, I don't see this game thriving, and I don't see it getting if it's even somewhat comparable numbers to Path of Exile or Last Epoch, even somewhat comparable numbers to any other RPG or just good story game or just good everlasting game, for example MMOs. It will not be able to do that if they will release an expansion that will give you one additional zone, one additional class, one additional mechanic that you can interact on the open world, like Hell Tides, and then there will be green Hell Tides or blue Hell Tides or anything like that. That will not help the game, and I don't think that many people will be interested in playing that expansion for more than once, and then they will lose. Then they will leave, and the game will retain maybe like 5 to 7% of its player base, just like I suspect it does now. And I don't think that Blizzard will see it as profitable, because I doubt that many people buy a lot of cosmetic microtransactions in Diablo. I doubt that many people buy battle passes in it. Because it's not the same type of FOMO experience that WoW is, or that other MMOs are. It's still a seasoned experience, and you need to pump a lot more content in it in order for it to be relevant. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you're having a good time. Bye.